and just speak. So we, first of all, we wanted to announce that one of the participants, one of you all, I'm not sure if you know, Jalen Harris has gotten a job with McDonald's. So we're very excited, and congratulations to Jalen. I don't think he's watching this at the moment, but we will be sharing it on social media as well. And we hope this inspires you and just reminds you of there's light at the end of the tunnel with just a few weeks left. And Mike is actually away at the moment, which is why Juan and I are hosting this. We're very excited to introduce to you Teddy Burriss, who is going to introduce himself. But Teddy is a LinkedIn guru. He's a certified career coach, and he has been training. He's a public speaker, and he's been speaking and training about LinkedIn and giving career coach services now for many years. He's an expert, and we're very excited to have him on. And just so you know, Teddy, we now have 11 people who are on the live stream watching. So Teddy will be introducing himself and giving a presentation. And just quickly, before we get to Teddy, I know that Juan wanted to add one more thing about the program, if you're able to unmute yourself, Juan.
Yes, I'm so sorry about that. I was getting some feedback in my video, so I had to go figure out what was going on the back end. So yes, also we sent out a form last week, because we do understand that, like, many people, even though the program is still ongoing, have been undertaking different efforts to either get jobs or get internships. And, we, just as Jalen has shared with us, I think it's really interesting that we hear from, from everyone regarding what their journey has been like. And if you've had any breakthroughs, just like Jalen has, or there's some prospects, please feel free to share with us. Those stories are essentially the reason for doing this, and we would like to hear from you.
Yeah, we'd love to hear any stories you have at all, and any feedback as well, because we hope to ultimately be sharing some of our success stories on social media and with future donors and future participants to help grow our program. So any stories you have at all, we'd really appreciate. And now let's turn it over to the man of the hour, Teddy.
Thank you very much, Ashley and Juan. Appreciate it. I'm going to hit the share screen because I have a 653 slide deck.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I have a very simple slide deck because I want to have a conversation with you, and I'm going to get, hopefully Ashley and Juan can monitor the YouTube live, and any comments you have, any questions you have about using LinkedIn as a career tool, drop them in either the chat or in the YouTube conversations, and I'll get those from my handlers, and I will answer any and all questions I get from anybody. So first of all, LinkedIn is a career tool. That's the conversation. Look, a little bit about who I am as I introduce myself. I'm a LinkedIn strategist and trainer. I'm also a career coach, a certified career transition counselor. I've been doing it since 2005. I've been practicing social networking since 2007, teaching LinkedIn as a business tool since 2009. I've been doing career coaching again since 2005. I've got a bunch of groups that I volunteer in, and I have my own show I do every Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time. And I play with LinkedIn. My job is to play with it and try to break it and try to understand it better than anyone else so that I can help you use it in the most applicable way for you, whether it's in your career, your business, your community, or just in life. And you can find me on the internet. If you can't find me at TL Burriss, you probably dropped one of the R's out, Burriss. So what's LinkedIn? What is LinkedIn? It's the #1 professional networking site on Earth. In the galaxy. It's really important, as I'm trying to make sure I make my note of time. It's really important to understand that it's a powerful business tool, a powerful career tool. 760 million people on LinkedIn, about 2 new members every second. Why is that important? Some of those are people that you need to know in your career journey. There's 52 million companies represented in one way or another on LinkedIn. Why is that important? More than likely, one of those companies is where you're going to have your next job, and then that next job, and then that next job. 25% of all LinkedIn members show up at least every other week. Now that's sounds like a pretty low number. I'll tell you, back in 2018, 2019, is 25% showed up once a month. It's gotten more and more active, mainly because the world is starting to discover this whole virtual networking thing is an important part of life. As I'm hoping you're discovering in your career journey, the importance of social networking in your life and building a presence, building the right network, and building a brand on LinkedIn are important aspects of your career journey. Let me put the chat box over here so I can make sure I pay attention. All right. Why is LinkedIn important in your career journey? That's the big question for you. Why is it important? First of all, 80% or more of all recruiters search LinkedIn profiles before contacting a potential candidate. Huge number. Actually, there are some people say that number is higher than 90% of all recruiters who are looking for people will look at LinkedIn and find those people. LinkedIn spends a lot of money and people pay a lot of money for the LinkedIn recruiter license because it's a powerful recruiting tool. Business owners and business leaders will reach out to their networks, people like me and others that you know, and ask them for candidate ideas. I get that query on a regular basis. Teddy, I'm looking for somebody that does this. Do you know somebody? LinkedIn search is a powerful tool with over 14 filters for you to find the right people to get into the right conversations. LinkedIn Jobs, comparable, if not rivaling other online job boards, but LinkedIn Jobs is better because of the relationship you can see between your network and those jobs. And engagement on LinkedIn helps us build our professional brands as we're seeking that next step, seeking that next opportunity, or seeking that first opportunity. And with LinkedIn pages, it gives you lots of opportunity to discover more about companies and the people who work there. LinkedIn is important in your career journey. So I've got a series of rules. Ashley, Juwan, feel free to jump in if you got any question or any thought you want to share while I'm sharing this.
Sure.
Lots of rules that I use. Number one, you need to measure to improve. So measure the results of your LinkedIn activity based on your career goals. Is my profile getting the right eyeballs on it? Am I getting the right people to connect with me? Are the right people engaging on my content? There's lots of ways to measure that. Is your LinkedIn network relevant to your career goal? And what can you do to make it more relevant? Are the right people looking at your LinkedIn profile? And what words are they using? What companies are they with? Are you growing the right LinkedIn network? Not do you have the right network, but are you growing the right network? And most important point to measure, are you moving the right connections into meaningful and relevant conversations that can move you into a conversation focused on your career? At the end of the day, it's all about moving the right people into the right conversations.
And Teddy, if
Yes.
you don't mind, I would just maybe have you maybe share some more light on what you mean by the meaningful and relevant conversation and into career focused conversation, and why it's important to kind of like have it in that sequence as opposed to just reaching out to somebody and saying, oh, I need a job.
Well, first of all, Joanne, that's a powerful point. You should never ask for a job. Listen to these words, never ask for a job. We know when you're looking for a job. We can tell that pretty easily. Now, you may say I'm in a career transition. That's okay to make that clarity statement, but never ask for something unless you know that person has it in their pocket, specifically a job. It's just a mindset that is far more powerful than walking around the streets in a daze begging for a job. Change your mindset. into building connections and building trust and building respect and getting into conversations. By the way, it's way more fun than running around your streets asking for a job and to get into a conversation. I'll touch on that more as we go through these rules. So great point, John. Rule number 9, lead with give. Your professional and your personal brand is directly impacted by what you share, what you say, the conversations you get into. So if you want to build a powerful brand, make sure you're helping others. Make sure you're giving ideas and perspectives and context and relevant to what it is you want to do. Make sure you're helping your target audience. You want to make a recruiter happy? Find out their most important job they're working on right now, the most difficult job they're trying to fill. Ask them that question. What is the biggest job you're working on right now? Send me the rec. I'll see if I can find somebody for you. You may not be able to find them, but A, you offered to help, and B, you tried to help. So make sure you're helping your target audience in any way you can. And you should look for people who are relevant to your career goals and those who can help you get into the next conversation. These are the people you want to talk with. These are the people you want to help. People who can help you. And by the way, this is fact. This is not pompous or arrogant in any way. But if you help somebody in a personal way, they're more likely to want to help you. Help somebody find a refrigerator. Help somebody find a dog. Help somebody find a solution to their broken down car. Help them help their kid. That's powerful. Rule number 8, treat your LinkedIn network as a portal to career success. Build your network with purpose. Focus on your goals and then start engaging. I get this on a regular basis. People say, oh my God, I got a huge LinkedIn network. Well, that's great. Have you had a conversation with them? Oh my God, I connected with 10 new people this week. Well, that's great. I hope you had 10 conversations because it's the conversations that make it happen. Make a new connection every day. Focus on your goals. Connect with those you meet in real life and who are relevant to you and or your career goals. I was just a couple of hours ago, I was being interviewed. There were 50 people watching the interview. I was paying attention to the names, paying attention to their questions. And every now and then I wrote down a name and I went and looked for that person on LinkedIn and thanked them for being on the show because they're relevant to me.
Teddy, I just have one question. Sorry to interrupt you. Just
No, go ahead.
Someone asked whether you'll be sharing. Would it be possible for you to share these slides at the end, or is that
Yes,
private?
I will make sure they're available.
Great, because I think people felt they had to take, profuse.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of content here, and so I will absolutely make sure this content's available.
Okay, great, thank you.
And the last point on this one is don't just connect. Now, as I said, engage immediately. That's how you build trust and respect and find out how you can help each other. And by the way, this is a fast slide deck, and then I'm going to get to lots of questions. Number 7, your LinkedIn profile is a brochure, not a resume. Furthermore, your resume is nothing more than your ongoing obituary. Don't lead with, like that one, don't you, Joanne? Don't lead with your obituary, okay? Build your LinkedIn profile. Focus on the goal that you have at hand. Focus on your career goal. Very clearly speaking to your target audience. Show them who you are, what you do, what you can do, what you have done, what you enjoy doing relevant to your goals. Minimize the distractions of all that other stuff. You were a barista at Starbucks and now you want to be, a project manager, then talk about project management. Maybe talk about how you use project management skills as a barista. Keyword rich, good grammar, good spelling. Don't make those mistakes. And you're writing your content not only for your target audience, which by the way, target audience is not recruiters. Target audience is the person who leads the department or leads the company that has a need for you, not the recruiter. The recruiter may be important, but your target audience is the person who has the need for you to solve their problem. So write your content for the target audience and you write it for search bots, which means you write more content. But make sure the first part of the content is speaking to the human, relevant to your career goals. Number 6, you see what you touch on LinkedIn. If you don't want to see it, don't touch it. If you don't want to see that content, stay as far away from it as you can. If you want to see more of it, search for that content. Follow that person who shared it. Follow that company. Follow those hashtags. Look for the content that is relevant to your career goals, and look for the people who are sharing that content and get into conversations with them where relevant and appropriate. And if you see a piece of content that you think is wrong, don't disapprove of it. It's not worth it. It will go away faster if you walk away from it. By the way, if you see me share something that I shouldn't ought to shared, please tell me. Just private message me. I'm happy to hear that. I need to hear that.
Sorry, I have a question about this. I'm not trying to, when you say that, don't touch it, is it what you're really getting at is because whatever you as a user are doing on LinkedIn is being shared with everybody? Is that why? Because it's public?
Yeah, the more if you touch it, you're telling LinkedIn that you want it. LinkedIn is not analyzing your words or negative. They're only analyzing you commented. Okay, and there's no negative emoticon, so you can only like it, celebrate it, or care for it. So any comment you put is just, hey, Teddy touched it. Let's give him more of that. And it does give it more life, and it does. Your network will see that you engaged on it. They may not see what you said, but they will see you did. So, yeah. If you don't engage on content, the algorithm is going to pick something for you. So if you want to control your content, go look for stuff that you want. That's what you want to do. And the stuff that you want should be relevant to your career goal. Number 5, never do, say, or engage in any way on social media that you don't, never do, say, or engage in any way that you don't want to be seen, heard, or perceived of in life. Listen to those words. Social media makes it real easy for us to do stupid stuff. Believe me, I firsthand know. Don't do stupid stuff. Don't engage in a way you don't want to be seen, heard, or perceived of. Even if you think it's a private message to someone, do not comment or say anything that you don't want someone to hear you say. You never know who knows who on LinkedIn. Can't tell you the name of the lady, that would be inappropriate, but I can tell you one of my LinkedIn connections started bad-mouthing another person through a private message to me, and the person she was bad-mouthing is a personal friend of mine. You can imagine what I think of her. Dale Carnegie taught me never criticize, condemn, or complain. On LinkedIn, I think he said that. But maybe he didn't say on LinkedIn. Number 4, be accessible to your target audience. And again, the target audience is the hiring manager, the department head, the business owner, the company owner, the regional VP, whoever the individual is who has a need for what you bring to the table. Be accessible to them. You will be more successful in your career journey the more accessible you are. Make sure your resume has your LinkedIn profile URL, your phone number, and your email address. Make sure your LinkedIn profile has your email address and your phone number in it. Shared appropriately to however you want, whatever the right way is for you. Make sure it's up to date. Call that phone number. Make sure you didn't fat finger it. Send an email to it. Make sure the email gets to you. If you got a portfolio website, click on it. Make sure it goes to it. And those of you, and I know who you are, who are using hotmama@hotmail.com, you need to get rid of that email address now. I'm not going to call you out, but you know who you are. Pay attention to LinkedIn notifications. Pay attention to messages. Pay attention to invites. I can tell you firsthand of numerous stories where people lost opportunities because they were not accessible. I can give you more new stories of people who failed in business or failed in their career because they did not respond or pay attention to a message. Don't be that person. Number 3, get into real and meaningful conversations. Networking in real life works best when you walk up to someone and you strike up a conversation. Well, guess what? It's the same thing on social media. So get into conversations. You can either make a conversation or get into a conversation. Start a conversation of your own or get into someone else's. But make sure the conversation's all about that other person. Make sure that conversation's relevant to them, not about you until they give you permission to make it about you. And if you make the conversation all about the other person, they will let you make it about you. Use open-ended questions when you're having a conversation, whether you're chatting through LinkedIn messaging or a telephone call or a Zoom call. Open-ended questions, learn more, show the person you care, listen to what they're saying. One of the things I discovered numerous times is often it's not what they said, but the words they use to say it, the tone of their voice, the fact that they were whimpering when they were saying, I can't find this guy. Listen to how they say it. Number 2, social networking through LinkedIn is a human-to-human thing. So present yourself. You are the product. You are the solution. You are the answer. You are what people are looking for. So let them discover who you are through your profile. And don't talk like a robot. Don't click on those automated things. Can't stand those things. Strive for authenticity in your post. Strive for authentic words, real conversations. Be yourself. Don't be someone else. Don't try to be someone else. Remember, Dr. Seuss said this, today you are you, that is truer than true. There is no one alive on LinkedIn who is youer than you. And I know he said those almost exact words. So be real. People want to know who you are. Don't be these person that you got to put on a white shirt and a tie and dress all up and do your hair all right. I don't have a problem with that. But if you're not a tie guy, don't put a tie on. You want to present yourself the best possible way. Maybe that is a tie. Maybe it is a white shirt. But don't be a fake. Number 1, network for mutual benefit. LinkedIn is a professional networking site. You create the best opportunities when you network for mutual benefit, which means you're willing to help others. And you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that when you give and help others, it will come back to you. Call it life, God, karma, or whatever you want. When you help someone else, it will come back to you. You can't do it with expectations. If you're giving to someone and going, okay, where's mine? That'll fail miserably. If you're networking on LinkedIn only to achieve your own goals, it's not going to work as well. And remember, people don't care about you until they know you care about them or their cause or their mission or their company. Network for mutual benefit. Here's a few bonus points. It's not a race, it's a journey. Now, I get it. If you're looking for a job, then you want to do it in the most expeditious way you can. But if you try to plow through using LinkedIn in your career journey, plow through building a LinkedIn profile, plow through building a LinkedIn network, it won't work because you're not going to be honest to yourself. So you have to work on it. You have to pace yourself and be committed to the pace. Stay true to your purpose. Stay true to your goal along this journey, and it will work. Now, there's nothing wrong with making adjustments or pivots when you decide, well, I really don't want to be a phlebotomist. I want to be a phlebotomist manager. It's okay, as long as you're purposefully making that change. And you can't get all bent out of shape, hoping and praying that what you do will get me a job tomorrow, because it may not. You got to be willing to work the long haul, willing to work the full journey. But if you're focused on doing the right things and moving forward, and you're committed to investing the time, it can work. Don't become addicted. It's not the only tool. It's just one of the tools. So know that you're going to use LinkedIn as one of the career tools. Schedule time to do it appropriately. Invest time on building your profile. Invest time on building your network and engaging with your network. Invest time on sharing and getting into conversations and starting conversations. You don't need to read it all, the news feed. Oh, Lordy, that's failure. It's like a river. Once it went by, it went by. Don't go chasing everything. You don't need to read it all, see it all. You don't need to accept every invite, and you don't need to comment on every piece of content. Be purposeful. And everything you do, every conversation you get into, every connection you make needs to be relevant. Relevant to you, relevant to your career goals. And don't compare yourself to others. Everyone is different. We're on different journeys. We're in different industries. We're focused on different roles. We have slightly different goals. It's okay to emulate someone if you like their style and their style does not disrespect your brand. It's okay to emulate people. I copy a lot of cool people. Emulate Dale Carnegie, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Zig Ziglar, Norman Vincent Peale. Don't compare yourself to others. It doesn't help you. That's the way I want you to think. I'll share this slide deck with you later. But at this point, what I want to do, check that out. 328, not bad.
Nice work.
Now what I would like to do is take you into LinkedIn and we can answer questions and talk about LinkedIn as a business tool, a career tool, and talk about how you can use it to help you achieve your goals. Ashley, Joanne, any questions come in that I can address?
I'm going to check now just to be sure.
Yeah. So far on YouTube, none, but I think people will have some. So everyone feel free to start asking them.
But I did want to get started on some
yeah.
questions that I have, and Ashley, also feel free to jump in. So I think the very first question that I have is like, what makes a good LinkedIn profile?
What makes a good brochure? Okay, I want to show you a good brochure. 1936, Packard 120. This is a brochure. Okay, it's 20 pages, all about the Packard car. And probably most people on this call don't know what a Packard is. Okay, this brochure was written in 1936. It's a brochure telling the people who would be most likely to buy the Packard, which was a sedan, telling the people who are most likely to buy a Packard what it's all about, how they will benefit from it, how they will enjoy it, why they will love being, because back in those days, I've done some research on this. The statement was, ask the man who owns one. Ask the man who owns one what it's all about and why you should have one. So what makes a good LinkedIn profile? You're speaking to the people who have a need for what you do. You're speaking to the people who could benefit from knowing you. If you're clear about what it is that you want to do, and you're clear about the target audience, the people, the hiring manager, the department head, the regional VP, et cetera, who may need what you do, then that gives you the greatest advantage to build a LinkedIn profile. But you got to be clear on who the person is and what's the message you want to share with them. Joanne, that's the high level answer to that.
Okay, great.
By the way, you want a 1936 Packard?
And I guess another question that I did have was, so, and this is something that I've also personally struggled with, you don't know somebody from Adam and you're basically trying to start a conversation with them. How do you start it without sounding, disingenuous or even worse? How do you naturally, bring that about?
Can I bring your profile up on the screen?
Yes, please.
Look out.
I remember before I had problems finding your profile.
Oh, so, okay. I think maybe that's something that we need to look out for.
Yeah, it might be. This is important because I know you don't use.
So there's
Juwan
an ADE in front of it, actually.
Oh, that's right.
No, it's all together. Yes.
There you are.
Yes. So maybe I want to go with just Juwan.
I think you should go with Juwan, dude.
Yes.
Okay. So if Juwan, when Juwan and I when we connected a week or so ago. Okay. So when we connected, what the right thing for me to do was go learn a little bit about him. Learn a little bit about him. How long has he been working at Reskill? What did he do before? You know, what school did he go to? What kind of certificates? Learn a little bit more about him so that I can then reach out to him and strike up a message, either send him a message or call him and thank him for the connection. This is where most people, they just don't go there. They connect and they'll send a message back. Oh, Juwan, thanks for the connection. Appreciate it. Period. Done. But what I really should do is show Juwan that I cared enough to look at his profile, look at his story, see who I know that he knows, so that he knows, again, I cared enough about him to invest that time. Now, after you do that, depend upon Juwan's response to me. I could have reached out to him again and invited him to a deeper conversation. Invite him to a phone conversation. It all depends. It's no hard cut rule that 1, 2, 3, 4. But your goal when you connect is to learn more about the network and the people in your network and look for ways to help them and look for ways to get them into a conversation where they can help you.
That's amazing advice. Thank you, Teddy.
Teddy, we have a few questions that have come in. Sorry to interrupt, John.
Go ahead.
One is, if employers already have, it's from Michael Bostic. If employers already have your portfolio resume, what do they look for in your LinkedIn profile? That's a really good question, actually.
So, Ashley, can I bring your profile up?
Oh, okay.
You're on the spot, Ashley.
There's like a gazillion Ashleys. Okay, there I am.
Well, I know who you are.
No, but you know, I have a name that a lot of other people have. So that's an also
I get it,
right? Yeah.
But here's, I mean, they have your resume, they have your CV and whatever. But more importantly than that, let me tell you one of the most powerful things. If I was looking to hire Ashley, I'm going to look at the 5 people that I know who know her. I don't need to ask for references anymore. Hiring managers do not have to ask for references. If I knew Pamela Price well enough, I would call her and ask for a reference.
Well, you know, in fact, Pam is actually on the call right now, so you can ask her yourself. Pam is our director of education.
Yeah. So, anyway, I mean, that's one reason why a recruiter or a hiring manager may want to look at your LinkedIn profile. They also may want to look at your LinkedIn profile and they want to compare what you put here and what you put on your resume. So if they see something here that contradicts what you put on your resume, that could be what's referred to as a huge red flag. They may also want to go and see where you went to school. What do you have for education? Okay. Maybe you didn't put on your resume that you went to Colgate or you have your master's. So they may want to see that. They may also want to see how do you care for others? Because that is important to a lot of people. So if you're actively involved in serving others, that could differentiate you from other candidates. True story. I know a guy who got a job because he was a Boy Scout troop leader. And the hiring manager was also a Boy Scout troop leader. So they don't want to look at that. They're not going to spend a lot of time on endorsements, but they may want to look at your skills and see what skills you have that are relevant or what you didn't speak about in your resume.
So what you just said is interesting. So the endorsements, I've always wondered about that. You don't think that carries any weight? I don't think it does. It's just like anyone can do it. Okay.
Yeah, look, I can endorse you for everything in here. How's that going to help you?
I
If
agree.
some-
I've always thought that, but I didn't know what recruiters.
For the most part, they don't care so much about endorsements. They really do want to see what words you have in here, though.
Okay. I wanted to just get to someone else's question.
Go ahead.
Which was which was from someone, DKP. How are we supposed to put Reskill Americans on LinkedIn? So this is a a training program.
The cohort program, right?
I don't know the difference between cohort. Yeah, I mean it's an online training software development program that
I would put it under. If you look here, add a section. You could put it under certifications, or you could put it down here under courses. That might be where I would put it on either under courses or under, I lost it, where did it go? Certifications.
Actually, Juan, do you have any input on that, or how we've tagged it as ourselves? I mean,
I mean, in the purest sense, or like the closest thing to what we do will be a typical bootcamp, right? So that's where I think it would feature for most people. I don't know if it can fit under the education section, because it's almost like an alternative, because there are many people who would rather go to a bootcamp than go to a university, for instance. So I think that's something that we've kind of like struggled with a little bit, and we were seeking to get more.
Do you have do the attendees get a certificate afterwards?
Yes, they get a certificate of completion.
From someplace like Badger?
No, it's not. We're not licensed like that yet. So we're still working on that, since this is just our.
I would think either education, certificate, or I would think the other one I had in my head, courses. It would be one of those three. It could be education. It could be a boot camp under education. That would be fine. I don't think any one of those would be wrong.
Exactly.
Certainly under education, but yeah, we can get back to you, Michael. That's a really good question. Or no, excuse me, it was DKP. A follow-up question to Michael I had was, my understanding is, I think what he was getting at is when he said, if employers already have your portfolio or resume, what do they look for in your LinkedIn profile? So just say, suppose someone's profile is identical to someone's LinkedIn profile is identical to their resume. What else will they be looking for then on LinkedIn? They'll be looking for, I assume, who, as you said already, who you have in contact with.
And they're also going to look for your conversations. What kind of conversations you get into? Because remember what I said earlier, your brand is built based on the words you say. So what kind of activity, what kind of conversations are you getting into? What kind of conversations are you starting? Have you written any articles that are relevant to your industry, relevant to the role you're interested in? Have you shared any content? Do you get into conversations with people, again, in this space? Because again, your words will differentiate you negatively or positively from the competition. So I'm thinking activity is also, actually, I know for a fact that activity will help you, because if they see that you're in conversations about the area that they want to hire you for, then you've already differentiated yourself from everyone else. Now, I'll give you one more tip about why you should be doing activity. Your LinkedIn profile gets ranked by LinkedIn for lots of reasons, and also gets ranked by Google for lots of reasons. If you just build a beautiful LinkedIn profile and you sit in the corner and you do nothing, the ranking of your LinkedIn profile will go lower and lower and lower, and it will be on older and older pages in a search. So if someone goes up here and does a search for LinkedIn trainer, and you don't show up on the top of the list, and I generally don't for my own self, if you don't show up at the top of the list, then you're gonna not be seen. You're not gonna be discovered as fast. So content and engagement can help a recruiter find your profile. And by the way, I never show up in my own searches, which I actually hate. So
that's really helpful. That's really helpful to know. We just had a question from, Ebony. One of her questions was, can I hire you to fix my LinkedIn profile? So, and I've just told her that we are probably going to be scheduling you for one-on-one sessions with participants, but we will be talking about that later and sharing the details. But I wanted to share that with you, Teddy, since there's a lot of curiosity and interest.
I work for pizza and chips.
And her other question had been earlier, and maybe I thought you could clarify, was she said, what did you mean when you were talking about the obituary? And I had explained to her that you were referring to a resume, but maybe you want to add a little bit more information about that.
Well, look, I've been doing career coaching since 2005, and I've seen all variations of resumes. Typically, when I read a resume, it kind of looks like an obituary. I did this, and then I worked for this company, and then I worked for this company, and it really doesn't give any real impactful accomplishment statements. And maybe you've heard of PAR or STAR. PAR or STAR. PAR stands for problem, project. What did the company need? Action. What did you do? Result. How did your actions solve a problem, create value for that company? It's called PAR, problem, project, action, result. Or STAR is situation, task, action, result. The same concept with different words. My point, most resumes are not written that way. Most resumes and most LinkedIn profiles are, I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. And you don't give the reader any value statement that your actions produce this result. And so because most resumes are not written that way, they read more along the lines. Go to the New York Times and read an obituary. You'll see what I mean. They sort of follow the format of a resume in a very satirical analogy.
Okay, thank you, Teddy. I do have some questions from our Slack channel. Somebody asked a 3-part question. I guess the first one was that they noticed that the graduates from other boot camps list their boot camp projects under work experience and also under education. Is this something we should do also? That's one. 2 is ageism a concern? Would it be weird to list some education with a date such as this boot camp, but not others, because it will reveal that we're in a protected age group, 40 plus? And then the last question in that group is, what are your thoughts on the green open to work banner? Okay,
I think I can speak to all that. So number 1, put your boot camp anywhere you want on LinkedIn. Put it under your experience, under your education, on your certificate, or under your courses. I kind of lean towards education. So I think it's a long enough program that it's a good fit for education. Number 2, ageism. Do you know who you're talking to? I'm the 63-year-old social media strategist. I don't let ageism bother me. If someone doesn't want to hire me because they think I'm old, I got words for that. And I'm going to move on. Ageism is real, whether it's too young or too old. The way you counter ageism, too young or too old, is by the words that you use, your presentation, your network, and the conversations you get into. That is how you combat ageism. Be willing to get into the conversations relevant to your goal, and people will look right past your age. I have an 18-year-old granddaughter who's a junior in college. She is accepted in all of her courses. We talked about this recently. Not because they're willing to look past her age, but because she's willing to get involved and get into conversations. You combat ageism through your words. Make sure your words are appropriate and relevant. Green, open to work. I'm on the fence with this one. I really am. The green, open to work. Most people just turn on the green, open to work, and their profile doesn't help them. So, this guy's got his green open to work. He's got his open to work, but he actually might have it pretty decent. He actually does. His is pretty decent. He's got a plethora of job titles. He's got a plethora of locations. He's willing to work remote, which I think he should have that on there. He's open immediately, and he only has one job type, full-time. This is marketing. This is not a statement of what I will absolutely only accept. It's marketing. Use all the job titles you can. Put all the locations you can, including I will work remote. I'm open to a conversation about working remote. And for job types, do not only put full-time, part-time, temporary, whatever you can, because all this is marketing for a conversation. Everybody that got that Packard brochure did not buy a Packard. They looked at it and they looked at the different ideas, the different opportunities, the different offerings. So put all the relevant offerings that create an opportunity for a conversation. Furthermore, the other thing I have with the open to work button is that by itself, it is not enough. Again, you got to build your profile, build your network, engage with your network, and get into conversations. If you're just going to rely on the open to work thing and hoping and pray it works, it won't. Juwan?
Great, thank you. So the other question is there a way of confirming a recruiter is legitimate on LinkedIn?
Would you ask it one more time?
So,
legitimate. You said legitimate.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's a good question. So how can I verify a recruiter is legit? Well, first of all, ask him for the name of his company. If he doesn't say it on his LinkedIn, I'll give you example. I can give you examples. Recruiter, Graham. Here's a recruiter. How do I know she's legit? Okay, she's got a legitimate city. She says she works for Graham Personnel. There's her company logo. If I go to her website, if I go to her company page and then go to her website, then I can get access to the phone number to call them and ask them, hey, I lost her name. Does Stephanie work for you? So go find their website. If they don't have a website, yeah, that's a flag for me. I'm not saying it's a big flag, but it's a flag. But if I can find their website, then I'm gonna look for a way to call that firm and ask them, does Stephanie work for you? Another thing is look at your mutual connections. Okay, do you have mutual connections to Stephanie? And if you do, call Steve or Sharita or somebody else and say, do you know this lady? Now, if their profile is fairly naked, incomplete, no activity, Stephanie's got no activity. I need to speak to her about that. Doesn't have a whole lot here. She has no recommendations. I'm going to feel a little bit uncomfortable until I validate she's real. One last validation. If you check their website, if they're local to you, get their phone number, get them on a phone call. And don't let them just simply engage with you through LinkedIn. Now, never let a recruiter send you a message and say, hey, I want to have a conversation with you through this Gmail account. The moment someone engages with you on LinkedIn and sends you to a Gmail, a Yahoo, or a Hotmail account, that's a bigger red flag for me. So check their website, check the mutual connections, check their LinkedIn profile, check their company page. Spend a few minutes validating. You don't have time to waste with idiots.
Okay, that's great. Okay, I got a couple more questions. One question from the YouTube, which I realize is actually very important and relevant because a lot of our participants are creating LinkedIn profiles for the first time. So someone asked, Michael Bostic, I have a brand new profile, only 2 connections. How does that affect how I'm viewed by employers? Basically, does inactivity or new profiles on LinkedIn look bad or affect their opinions? So what advice would you give to some of our participants who are creating LinkedIn profiles for the first time? So, they don't have all the connections yet online. They don't have, if they want a recruiter to find them or reaching out to a recruiter, they don't have yet those shared connections or the activity. Anyway.
Yeah, it's a good point. So look, we all have to start somewhere. But the thing that most people do is they build a profile and then they walk away from it. Look, you're in a cohort, you're in a program with 140, 120 other people.
That's about 140 people, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should all be connecting with each other. That's a great way to start your network. Start connecting with each other and engaging with each other. Get into friendly, polite, related conversations. That's a huge way to start your network, is connect with the people you're hanging out with today. Connect with people that you used to work with. Connect with your friends, your family, your neighbors, start growing your network around the people that you already know today, because they can help you meet more people. And then secondly, don't just build a skeleton LinkedIn profile. Be willing every month to put a little bit more effort in, a little more time. Build more skills, add more skills, ask for, put more content on there. And then the third, don't just rely on building your LinkedIn network and building your profile. Be willing to get into a conversation a little bit. Will people in the early days think that you're not quite there? Probably. But don't let that hold you back from moving forward. It's a journey. Keep moving forward.
Great. So just an added follow-up question to that is, so you're building as many contacts as you can, but say your contacts are all in your former industry and you're changing industries and careers. Do you have any suggestions for, building connections in the new industry? That's one question. I'm going to ask you too, since we're also short on time. Someone had asked to talk about the premium, LinkedIn premium. Is it worth it? Is it worth? Yeah. Should people pay for that service?
I got that. I think I can speak to both of them. So again, start connecting where you are. Start your activity where you are. So if your network is all about, toilet paper manufacturers, then you're going to connect with a bunch of toilet paper manufacturers. Okay, that's okay. Because guess what? People who make toilet paper, they know people who need project managers. They know people who do other things. Okay, so start where you are and then focus on new connections where you want to go. Okay, so one of the things I tell people, never send an invite to someone that you want to connect with who doesn't know you. Instead, find somebody you know who knows them. So if you want to meet a whole bunch of new, what's the Microsoft Stack developers? Then find Microsoft Stack developers and find someone you know to introduce you to them. But I can promise you, the people who made toilet paper that you know from that previous world, or the baristas that you used to hang out with, they know people you need to know in some respects. So number one, start where you are as you work to grow into that new area. Paying for LinkedIn, don't pay for LinkedIn. Unless you're going to be serious about prospecting at a higher level, I wouldn't pay for LinkedIn. You're going to run into the commercial use limit, except that's going to happen if you're searching hard and furious. Right now, connect with the people you know, grow your network around all the people you know, and don't get into a big journey of wanting to prospect, because then you're going to be forced to pay for LinkedIn and you don't really need to.
That's super helpful.
And I did also want to get your thoughts on something. Like we were mentioning something about people who are starting new. What are your thoughts about even, driving conversations? Because I know how likes and comments and things like that can boost each other. Do you think it's something helpful for even participants, not only to just connect, but to start conversations around, their experience, their challenges, whatever those are, and help each other out with those conversations? Because it definitely does help with their discovery. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, Juwan, that's a powerful statement. So, when I see conversations going on that are important to my target audience, important to the people I care about on LinkedIn, where relevant and appropriate, I want to get into their conversations just to be helpful. Ashley hasn't been using LinkedIn for a while. So
no,
We had that on the stack to talk about. But you know, if the people you care about on LinkedIn, your target audience, your friends, your family, people that can help move you forward, if there's a conversation going on, I don't want you scrolling through this news feed all day long. That would be ridiculous. But there's nothing wrong with a few minutes to stop. Mike's a good guy. I should care about Mike, even though this is not an overly important post for me and my business. But I should at the very least, you know, thank him, celebrate it with him. Do a little bit, because this is how you get your name out there. And by the way, don't be a serial liker. A serial liker is someone who all you do is hit the like button. If you see a post that's really meaningful to you and relevant to your business, then be willing to stop and hit the comment button and say something. But yeah, it is called networking for mutual benefit. It's not all about Teddy, but it's also all about the people I care about. Because if you show that you care, they're more likely to care. I did this earlier today. A guy calls me up, says, Teddy, I got money. I need your help. And I got that because a lady by the name of Suzanne, I wrote her name down on this paper. A lady by the name of Suzanne Wallace introduced me to that guy. And you know what? She wouldn't have done it if she didn't think that I was a good person to some degree or another. You never know what's going to happen. So yeah, show up and engage in conversations.
That's powerful. I think my last question will be, so we talked about like helping people, especially people like recruiters, hiring managers, you know, company owners and people of that nature who are looking to hire. But if you are a new software developer, right, or you're just transitioning into a new career, how do you do that? And I'm specifically asking because you talked about things like people are looking to maybe buy some furniture, help with their kids. Like, how can you bring some of your past experience, like where you have a wealth of knowledge, to bring a different perspective to help, you know, people who you might be looking to get employment with, but you bring a different perspective that can help them in their daily life now?
Yeah, you know, and that's a great question. That all does not happen here. That does not all happen in this news feed. A lot of that happens in the messaging. A lot of that helping people happens in real life conversations, happens through phone call, happens, you know, on your Slack channel when someone says, hey, I've got this issue I'm trying to resolve. You know, everything doesn't have to happen through the news feed. It can happen in real life conversations. You never know. If you ask somebody how you doing and someone pauses answering that question, then be willing to ask a little deeper. Hey, is there something I can help you with? I don't know what your challenge is. I don't know what you're trying to solve, but and I'm saying this totally transparently to everybody. If there's something I could do to help you, just let me know. If you're willing to be that way and be sincere about the offer and follow through with the action, it's powerful.
I have one last question that just came to me, which may be relevant to some people. So say you see a recruiter, one of our participants sees a recruiter online and connects with them or sends them a message. And it's not, hey, I'm looking for a job, but trying to engage with them, and they don't get a response, but they have to be in touch with them and they'd like to have a conversation. What suggestions would you have for follow-up? Would you try to email them then? Would you just try to hit them on any channel you can? I don't want to annoy them, but having seen your message inbox and how many messages you get, how do you kind of stand out in messages when you might not have a shared contact? How do you kind of reach that recruiter?
So it's tough. It's tough if you don't have your network built out, and it's not insurmountable. But a couple ideas. So look, here's Graham Personnel. These are friends of mine, okay? And so if I want to, get the attention of Will, or I want to get the attention of Stephanie, then maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for their content, and I'm going to engage in their content. Okay, this is company page content, but there's this dude named Dace. So if I want to get Dace's attention and he won't respond to me, maybe I'll go look for his post that he posted 3 days ago about, how excited he was with his recruiters. And I can come down here and share some meaningful point, some meaningful comment. The other thing you could do too is, by the way, maybe use the style I said earlier. Instead of calling Dace up and saying, dude, I need a job, ask him how he's doing. And then say to him, Dace, I know you know what job I'm looking for. But instead of me asking you for a job a day, I want to do something to help you. Would you send me the link to the position that you're trying to fill? And let me see if I know somebody who can help you with that.
Okay, that's good advice.
Yeah.
And to your point, I think that what you said about so if you look at, I'm sure if we scroll down on Dace's posts, he hardly probably gets any comments on them, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that you're doing something thoughtful and going the extra mile in a way that nobody's looking to engage with him, kind of will get him to stop and think for a second and say, hey, somebody even thinks to comment on my post. I think, again, from what I kind of hear, it's almost like you always have to find that differentiating factor for you and going just a little extra step, to engage people. I think it does. At least that's the feedback that I get.
Look, the tagline for my business is that it all starts with a conversation.
Mm.
So how can I start more? How can I have more conversations? How can I pull more people in conversations? How can I be a part of more conversations relevant to my goal?
Okay, that is a good way to, I think, conclude our session since we're already over. Were there any last questions anyone had? I don't think we really have time, but if there's an urgent question, I think that we can take it. But
yes, I think maybe a good way to actually even wrap it up is that, thank you so much, Teddy, for helping us out. But I imagine that, again, maybe this is where we even start to put some of the teachings into practice. Teddy's always on the interwebs. We're looking to engage him, but regardless of that, there will still be potential for you if you can stand out and reach out to him. And I believe there's always a connection point again. Connect with him on LinkedIn, start conversations, and hopefully you can get even more answers out of him than we've been able to cover on this call today.
And also,
Joanne, towards that end, don't send me an invite to connect. Just follow me on LinkedIn. I can't accept every invite I get because I'm running up against the wall.
You're gonna break the internet.
Yeah. So, but follow me. Send me an email. I'm an open networker, which means you can all send me an email. Send me an email. Thank me for the session. Ask me for the talking points. I'll send them directly to you. The moment you engage with me through messaging, that we have a channel open for further messaging where relevant and appropriate.
Well, we will also send around those talking points if that's okay. It's probably easier.
I'll get them to you.
And then we'll share them with our channels with everybody. And we will be communicating with all of you about next steps with LinkedIn and possibly Teddy, hopefully Teddy. So we are just very excited about hearing more of your wisdom. And again, we'll be sharing this, and this will be recorded, of course. This is the live stream you can return to on LinkedIn. Thank you so much, Teddy. This has been great. And any last points? Do you want to cover everything?
No. I would just like to thank him for taking the time out of his busy schedule to help us out with this. This is
Yeah, we can't thank you enough, Teddy, for volunteering your time. We are going to follow up with you separately right after this call. I'll send you a note. Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.
Take care. Have a great week, everybody.
Okay. Bye.